Fans at the Peterson Event Center have had plenty to cheer about again. Led by sophomore Ashton Gibbs, the Panthers have been one of the nation's most surprising teams. Another super soft, Mike Rosario of Rutgers, has the Scarlet Knights thinking upset when Rutgers visits Pitt next. Hello and welcome to the Peterson Event Center, where today the Rutgers Scarlet Knights will try to spring the upset on the 18th ranked Pitt Panthers. An upset, by the way, they pulled a couple of years ago. Pitt 50-3 at the Peterson Event Center the last couple of years. One of those losses coming to Rutgers, but the Panthers have a lot to play for, as do so many teams in the Big East right now. And the Panthers find themselves in an unusual situation, rooting for their unfriendly neighbors to the south, West Virginia today. West Virginia came through. They upset Villanova in overtime in Philadelphia. So we take a look at the updated standings right now. It's Syracuse, West Virginia, Villanova, and Pitt. But Pitt, by virtue of a tiebreaker, would be the number 2 seed in the Big East tournament. Should they win today against Rutgers, we bring in Mark Adams. And Coach, when you look at the Pitt Panthers, they might be fighting for more than just a 2 seed in the Big East tournament.
Well, when you look at the national picture right now, Syracuse obviously lost today, and it's been a revolving door. Kansas State has lost recently. Duke has a big game against North Carolina. Villanova lost today. So it seems every time we settle on a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, they lose. Why not Pitt? Winners of 7 of the last 8. One of the hottest teams in the country. With a win today and a run through the Big East tournament, the Pitt Panthers could be a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament.
Let's take a look at today's Star Watch, and it's those 2 sophomores we talked about, Mike Rosario and Ashton Gibbs. Rutgers, led by Rosario after starting out 0-8, they have won 5 of their last 9 Big East games, and Rosario is really one of the big reasons why.
Mike Rosario is a volume 3-point shooter. Nearly 50% of his total attempts come from behind the arc. I love his shot preparation. Watch his hands and feet, measure the defender, and he's got long range. Mike Rosario's got to knock down shots like that for Rutgers to win again here at Pitt.
And Ashton Gibbs is a guy for the Panthers who not only is a very good 3-point shooter in his own right, but is also unafraid to take the big shot.
I love Ashton Gibbs because he's willing to take and make big shots. Against West Virginia, he went off and made the big shots, just like this one when he beat Providence in the last seconds. Ashton Gibbs is one of those guys, been around the block a few times. He makes big shots for Pitt.
So the Pitt Panthers have plenty to play for. Rutgers looking for some momentum in their own right. The Panthers and Scarlet Knights coming up next in the Peterson Event Center. Today's Big East game is brought to you by PNC, for the achiever in us all. Ready to take on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights here at the Peak. 18th ranked Pitt Panthers and Rutgers, plenty to play for as well, trying to build momentum in their program. And let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Scarlet Knights in today's game. James Spady, the junior college transfer from Miami-Dade, starts at the point. Mike Rosario, you heard Coach Adams talking about him. Dane Miller has been a great surprise as a freshman. Jonathan Mitchell, transferred from Florida. He has an NCAA championship ring to his credit. And Hamidi Njai, the big center, who has a chance to break the all-time Rutgers shot blocking record in today's game. That's the starting lineup for the 15-15 Rutgers Scarlet Knights. For the 23-7 and 18 ranked Pitt Panthers, Ashton Gibbs, a sophomore, starting along with Jermaine Dixon being celebrated here as one of the seniors for the Pitt Panthers. Brad Wanamaker, Nasir Robinson, and their big center, Gary McGee. That is a lineup for the Pitt Panthers heading into today's game. And Coach, when we take a look at the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, team that started out 0-8 in the conference, since that time has gone 5-4 in conference play, and Fred Hill really feels like he's got something working here in his 4th season at Rutgers.
Well, Rutgers, not only one of the most improved programs over the last 4 years, but also when you look at what Fred Hill has done over the last 10 ball games, 6-4 over the last 10, 5-4 in Big East play. I don't ever remember a team opening up Big East play 0-8 and then recovering the way way that Rutgers had. He has resurrected this program in mid-season, it seems.
And in fact, no team has ever done that, Coach. As you were saying, won 5 games after starting out 0-8 in the conference. Jamie Dixon in his 7th season, 20-plus wins in each season. Remarkable job that Jamie Dixon has done, and I think this year, one of his better coaching jobs, certainly when you look at a team that was picked to finish 9th in the conference, and they're 18th in the country.
And frankly, I picked them lower than 9th in the preseason, so I'm apparently not very smart, and Jamie Dixon's real smart, and I defer to him.
Well, let's take a look at the series history now. Rutgers leading 23-21, and Fred Hill got his team together before practice last night, said, hey, the Panthers are 50-3 at the Peterson Event Center over the last 3 seasons. One of those defeats we handed them, 77-64 2 years ago, January of 2 years ago. The Panthers have won 9 of the last 10 meetings, the only loss coming in that January 26, 2008 meeting between the two teams. Largest margin of defeat at the Peterson Event Center, Rutgers and Louisville, each beating the Panthers here by 13 points. So that is a true rarity that Fred Hill able to pull off with his Rutgers Scarlet Knights squad as we get set to go. Scarlet Knights in the red uniforms, the Panthers in their home gold and blue. Njai and McGee getting set to get it underway, and Rutgers controls. It is James Beatty, the junior college transfer, running the point. The Panthers come out in their traditional man-to-man defense, Coach.
Now, how many Njai will get touches inside? They like to get him going early. Matched up with McGee.
And McGee well defended there as he gets a piece of it. Rebound to Robinson, and Gibbs pushes for the Panthers.
I think Gary McGee, a very underrated post defender.
Averaging nearly 2 block shots per game, has been one of the Big East's most improved players, has been Gary McGee. And McGee had his shot altered, but Wanamaker hits the offensive glass. Out to Dixon, and they'll reset.
Well, Hamady Njai, the number 3 shot blocker in the country, number 5 in red, can change the game with his defense.
And that's Beatty outside getting a piece of that shot by Gibbs, and out of bounds was Robinson. So Rutgers, a nice defensive stand there, and here's what's at stake for them.
A road win versus a ranked team, and for Pitt, a number 2 seed, not just in the Big East Championship tournament, but also, when you're looking at the big national picture, this team still has an outside shot at a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament.
Mitchell's 3 in and out, Gibbs with the rebound. That's an incredible feat when you consider, again, where they were picked at the beginning of the season. There's 4 big seniors graduating from a year ago. Dixon shot off, and Beatty steps on the line as he tries to get the loose ball.
Around Dewan Blair, Sam Young, Levance Fields. Between them averaged 45-plus points per game, gone from the lineup. But this Pitt team has simply just continued to get better throughout the season.
Minute and a half in, looking for our first field goal of the game. Neither team able to convert early on here. Defense has been very good. A couple altered and blocked shots already. Wanamaker on the drive misses. Robinson rebounds for the Panthers and kicks out again.
Well, this is where Pitt can really do damage on the offensive glass.
Gibbs hits the runner as the Panthers keep that sequence alive with the offensive rebound and lead 2-0.
Pitt out-rebounds their opponents by 4.5 rebounds per game. Rutgers on the minus side of that equation, so watch. Second chance points, a big statistic here today for Pitt.
Rosario's 3 in and out. McGee rebounds for the Panthers. Dixon on the drive, rejected by Njai. And Miller looking to run. And that pass broken up by Wanamaker, so the Panthers get the ball back. Miller very unselfish as a freshman, but, you know, again, still going to make some freshman decisions out there.
Now, Dane Miller, I think the most productive freshman in the Big East this year.
McGee powers inside, and Njai called for the foul. And we talked about big scores that have been going on throughout the Big East Conference today. How about Louisville maybe locking up a tournament bid here with his victory over number 1 Syracuse?
Well, I think definitely right now, Rick Pitino's basketball teams just get better as the season goes along every single year. And you go back to Syracuse, now that's their 3rd loss on the season. Obviously, they're not just going to fold their tents, but what if Syracuse loses early in the Big East tournament and Pitt makes the run and wins the Big East tournament? you know, when you look at Kansas, Kansas State, Villanova, Duke, Syracuse, all of those teams have been mentioned as #1 seeds. Why not Pitt? At this point, if they do exactly what I described, they could be a #1 seed.
McGee hitting 1 of 2 makes it a 3-point lead, and that's certainly going to be a storyline to watch in the Big East tournament. Nice patch inside, and Mitchell with the finish. And they're going to say the basket counts. It was actually knocked up back through the rim, but Mitchell, who is, by the way, a left-hander, hitting that little baby hook inside. And Rutgers scores their first points of the game, now showing press.
I like the way Fred Hill mixes and matches defense. You'll see that all afternoon.
Gibbs three-pointer off the mark. Rebound, batted away. Rosario chasing, runs into Dixon, who recovers to Wanamaker. Steal inside by Mitchell. Both teams having trouble finding their rhythm offensively early on. Panthers again in that man-to-man defense. And Rutgers, they want to get up and down the floor. So this half-court set, really not what they're looking to get out of their offense, is it?
Where they've improved, though, is that Mike Rosario no longer just...
As Beatty hits a three-pointer there. Go ahead, Coach.
Mike Rosario no longer forces his offense. He plays more in the team-type component, and I think that's where Rutgers has improved over this last 10 games.
Dixon along the baseline, and he hits for the Panthers.
I was so impressed with Jermaine Dixon late game in Providence. We're talking about a guy that lowered his shoulder in the last 6 minutes and not only made shots but got to the free throw line with the traditional three-point play 3 different times in the last 6 minutes of that game. That's leadership.
Well, he shows up big at big times, one of those kind of players.
I just like the fact that he attacks the basket in big game situations. He wants the ball in his hands.
Austin Johnson, freshman, checking in for Jonathan Mitchell for the Scarlet Knights. 5-5 ball game. Miller trying to go to work on McGee. Shot off the mark. Wanamaker rebounds for the Panthers. Dixon the pull-up, and on senior day, Jermaine Dixon hits another, and it's 7-5 Panthers.
His brother Juan is here today, and Jermaine putting on an offensive display, picking up where he left off against Providence. What a game that was. Ashton Gibbs with the long-range bomb at the buzzer.
Inside the Njai left-handed hook. Rebound pulled down by Gary McGee, and such a crucial game for the Panthers. The events today unfolding, and you don't win that game, and you might not be a #2 seed. Now they've got an opportunity to do that by winning that game.
It was weird watching Pitt fans root for West Virginia, though, I got to tell you.
Wanamaker hits the three-pointer, and the lead is 10-5 for the Panthers.
Wanamaker with 10 points against Providence. He was really struggling. He'd been in single digits the previous 3 ball games.
Well, he hit a big 3 down the stretch as well for the Panthers in that game. So Rutgers had a 5-0 run. The Panthers now on a 7-0 run. Johnson trying to end that. Can't do it. McGee rebounds for Pitt.
Austin Johnson fades away down low. Had a size advantage.
And Gilbert Brown fouled as he goes to the basket. So the Pitt Panthers enjoying a 10-5 lead here at the Peterson Event Center. First half, the Pitt Panthers, #18 team in the country, leading Rutgers by a score of 10-5. You mentioned earlier it was senior day. Jermaine Dixon, you mentioned Coach's brother Juan Dixon on hand as well, and got a huge ovation from the crowd, who knows this guy's a glue guy, their top defender, but he's also doing it offensively today against the Scarlet Knights.
Jermaine Dixon can score just as Providence. Career high 24 points, 12 rebounds, a double-double for Jermaine Dixon. But how about his 2-year career? He is 54-12 here at Pitt over 2 seasons. 27 Big East wins, the most ever for a single player over a 2-year period, and 35-1 at home. What a career for Jermaine Dixon.
He is a winner, no question about that, and hoping to lead the Panthers deep in again to the NCAA tournament after a Big East tournament run. And we take a look at the scenarios for the Big East Championship coming up, and it's pretty simple, pretty cut and dry, 2 or 4.
They win today, #2 seed in the Big East tournament. They will have won 8 out of 9 if they can win today going into the Big East Championship in Madison Square Garden.
And as we take a look at Gilbert Brown getting set to shoot two, one of the things we talked about with Coach Hill before the game was the importance of rebounding. The edge right now, 10-3 Panthers. That's something I'm sure he was addressing with his team. They've got to be better at that, or they're going to be in big trouble in this game.
Yeah, Pitt plus 4.5 rebounds per game, and I think for Pitt to continue to get better, Gilbert Brown is the X factor. We've seen his ability to score the ball. 25 points versus South Florida, 20 points versus Georgetown, 23 on Seton Hall. A couple goose eggs at West Virginia, 0 points versus Providence. Seems like every other game, Gilbert Brown goes for 20, and the next game he goes for under 5.
Brown hitting both those free throws there. Another steal as Rosario is stripped. Dixon going to work on Njai, and Njai commits the foul. And for Njai, that's actually his first. I incorrectly said he was whistled for a foul earlier that was charged to Austin Johnson. So first on the big senior shot blocker for the Scarlet Knights.
You know, Gilbert Brown is a guy that when he makes shots early in a game, he gains tremendous confidence. And I like what he did early in this game of putting the ball on the floor, drawing contact like Jermaine Dixon does in order to get his rhythm offensively. I think that's critical for Gilbert Brown. If this team's going to be a 2 or 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, Gilbert Brown has to show up offensively.
Oh, and you see, you just mentioned some of the games he's had. Villanova, electrifying dunk baseline he took that really got this crowd going. Rosario stripped and Rutgers regains. But he's the kind of guy that, again, if you can find some consistency from him, you know he's got the ability to do it.
He's the best athlete on the floor.
Yeah.
With size.
Beatty going to work on Woodall, gets it back and throws up an off-balance shot, rebounded by Wanamaker. Rutgers has not gotten a lot of good looks against his Panthers defense. And here's Dixon now, the three-pointer, no good. Beatty gets the rebound. Scarlet Knights looking to run. This is Dane Miller, spin move and stripped by Trayvon Woodall, but they call the foul on Trayvon Woodall. By the way, Trayvon Woodall, as we take a look at this defensive play here first, Coach.
Now, look at the defensive transition of the gold jerseys. Yes, it turns into a foul, but that was a 2-on-2 straight-up situation. But that's why Pitt is so difficult to score on. They sprint back in defensive transition so well.
Dane Miller, Rochester product, misses the first. We'll talk a little bit about him later on as a possible Big East Freshman of the Year. Substitutions for the Scarlet Knights. Going to mention that Woodall and Rosario went to high school together. Again, maybe a story we'll talk more about later on as Johnson goes to the bench. Mike Coburn in for Rutgers, and Jermaine Dixon gets his first break of the game for the Panthers.
And both those guys out of St. Anthony's, one of the truly great high school programs in the country, year in and year out.
Miller misses both. Rutgers having all kinds of difficulty scoring. Wanamaker goes in. Njai with a rebound, and then Brown trying to follow up will commit the foul for the Panthers. Well, you had a great shot blocker in Central Connecticut State. How often do guys want to challenge him? If you're an athletic player, do you want to commit? Do you see guys that are shying away, or do you see guys that want to take it right at a big guy and see what they've got?
Well, the key to attacking a shot blocker is to go right at his sternum. You never want to fade. You never want to give him an angle or a soft spot for them to step in and block the shot. So when you're going to the basket, go right at the shot blocker's sternum.
Rosario misses in a near 4-minute drought continuing for Rutgers. They have not scored in over 3.5 minutes now.
Rutgers switching up into their zone defense out of the miss.
Panthers enjoying this pace, grinding it out. This is what they like. Rutgers, they want to get up and down the floor. They just haven't been able to do it yet. Woodall wide open from the elbow, knocks down the shot. The Panthers lead is up to 11, 16-5.
Trayvon Woodall, if he can get his offensive game going, we saw he played very well against West Virginia, 12 points, 6 assists, 7 rebounds. That's the type of production I saw him at St. Anthony's.
One of the things Jamie Dixon liked about that game, no turnovers. That's what he's been trying to stress to the young point guard.
He did a little out of control at times, but getting better. He's no longer a freshman. He's a sophomore.
Wanamaker with a strip of Coburn. Leaves it for Gilbert Brown. They're going to call him for a travel as that dunk brought the crowd to their feet, but no basket for the Panthers.
Let's take a look at the Pitt defense right there, just raking the ball out. Brad Wanamaker, and they call a walk right there.
Showing that athleticism he talked about there.
He's attacking the basket, too. That's good news for Pitt fans.
Coburn leads for Njai. He can't handle. Off his knee, out of bounds. by nothing offensively. The Panthers lead 11 at the Peterson Event Center. On an 11-0 run, they lead Rutgers by a score of 16-5. Let's take a look at the principal financial group edge to the game for each team, beginning with Rutgers.
Well, Rutgers rebounding right now. They're down 13-5 on the boards. They typically get out rebounded by over 3 a game. Pitt plus 4.5. And NJ's got to avoid foul trouble in order to intimidate inside.
And the Panthers, what do they need to do today?
Got to attack. Got to go after the shot blocker and try to get him in foul trouble and deny and defend Mike Rosario. And Jamie Dixon, the Pitt basketball team, always starts with a base of defense, taking away your strengths. And Mike Rosario, over the last 3 ball games, has averaged 19 points per game, and so Pitt will try to take him completely out.
The Panthers' defense has been stifling for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Have not scored since the 16:25 mark, so working on 4.5 minutes of play without a basket. Not any points at all. That's, again, a team that wants to play up-tempo and now maybe trying to create some of that with the pressure here.
The defensive transition for Pitt has just been outstanding all season long. They give you nothing easy.
Panthers will be patient offensively, and this time Robinson with a pass off the leg of a Rutgers defender, Coburn, and so the Panthers maintain possession.
Watch the red jerseys. There'll be 3 men and man-to-man. Watch Mitchell 24 and Njai inside. They're literally, we're playing a 2-man zone during that portion of the possession. It's basically a 3 and a stick. 24 and number 5 lined up in zone with a 3-man man-to-man.
They call that the red 3 defense. Shot off the mark by Gilbert Brown. Rosario with a rebound for the Scarlet Knights.
Fascinating defense. Usually see maybe a triangle and 2. That was a stick and 3.
Rosario, tough shot, and the drought continues for the Scarlet Knights.
Now they're back in man-to-man.
A great lead. Gilbert Brown for Dante Taylor.
Dante Taylor's getting better. That's bad news for everybody in the Big East. He's got talent.
High school All-American, the first for the Panthers in over 20 years since Brian Shorter came, and another McDonald's High School All-American, Rosario, fouled as he takes it to the basket.
Well, Dante Taylor, the 6'9" guy, you know, that looks easy, but look where he caught that basketball. Watch his hands. He catches down by his knees. That's a tough catch for a big guy, but that's why he's so special. Great hands, Dante Taylor.
Rosario trying to end this drought that has stretched almost 5.5 minutes for Rutgers, does so by hitting that first free throw. And that's got to be tough on the road. You come in, you know it's a nationally ranked team and a lot to play for, and you come out in a start like this and dig yourself a huge hole.
Now, I'm impressed, though, with how Rutgers handled adversity. 0-8 in the Big East. They've come back in the last 9 Big East games, won 5 of those. That is a very difficult team to do. Psychologically difficult to bring your team back, but they beat Notre Dame and started figuring out, you know what, we can play in this league, and this young team has continued to grow and get better.
And an upset victory over Georgetown in that stretch as well. Rosario out, James Beatty back in, hounding Gilbert Brown, got a hand on it, but Brown gets it back.
There's a 3-man man-to-man and 2 guys in the paint playing zone. I've only seen that one other time my entire career in over 40 years of basketball. VMI Duger-Balkan did the same thing in the Big South tournament last year, and now I see Rutgers doing the same type of thing. And Tom Green, who was the coach at Fairleigh Dickinson, who Fred Hill used to work for, listen, coaches like to beg, borrow, and steal. Fred Hill beg, borrow, steal Tom Green.
And that was Dante Taylor finding the back door in the jam.
They just broke the stick.
Snapped it over their knee with that thunderous jam by the freshman. Lead at 13 for the Panthers. And now Trayvon Woodall with a hustling play and the foul on Patrick Jackson.
Here's the penetration. There's the 2-man zone, and nobody rotates. Hamidi Njai is underneath the basket. The last place you want your shot blocker is standing underneath the rim.
Lead is at 13, 5 turnovers for the Scarlet Knights.
Rutgers now back to man-to-man.
Panthers again patient offensively. Brown taking a baseline, and he is blocked by Jackson, but they're going to call the foul on Patrick Jackson, so he picks up 2 quick fouls here.
But this is the key. Gilbert Brown in attack mode early in the basketball game. When he attacks, good things happen for Pitt basketball.
Dante Taylor hobbling a little bit after that play. Looks like Gary McGee's going to come check in for him as Brown gets set to shoot 2 free throws, and they're not even going to wait for the first one to go. Taylor obviously in some pain, hobbling off the court as Jackson has picked up his second personal in short order. There's Taylor kind of gingerly making his way over to the Pitt bench. And Brown hits the first.
Like he banged his right knee, but no trainer coming to see him. That's good news for Pitt fans.
Place extremely quiet, and a lane violation on Jackson now, so Brown will get a second chance to shoot.
That drives you crazy.
Oh,
coaching, that drives you nuts, especially in March.
So Brown gets another shot, and he makes the Scarlet Knights pay. The lead is up to 15 now, 22-7. Brown 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Panthers enjoying their biggest lead of the game.
Oh, that Rosario in the lineup. This team typically struggles to score the ball.
Mitchell misses, and Nasir Robinson soaring high for that rebound. Trayvon Woodall has gotten much more patient offensively. He almost lost the ball there as Beatty tried to come in with a strip.
Usually see what Gilbert Brown does with his next touch. See if he continues to be assertive with the basketball. There he is.
Hesitation, move to the basket, tried to whirl around after drawing contact, shot off the mark, and so it'll go back to Rutgers.
Gilbert Brown that time changed his shot. I like the aggression, don't like the execution. Takes ball right there. All he's got to do is basically either 2-foot jump stop and give it up to Gary McGee, but make a controlled play instead of just leaving your feet and hoping something good happens. And Gilbert Brown's going to sit down for a while.
He is, along with Trayvon Woodall, as Dixon checks back into the game, as well as Wanamaker for the Panthers. Rosario desperately looking for something and almost threw that pass away.
Now Jermaine Dixon, such a good one-on-one defender. His job is to stop Mike Rosario this afternoon.
Rosario had 22 last year when the Panthers nearly upset. We're nearly upset as Njai hits that shot. We're nearly upset down at the rack. That loaded team the Panthers had. Rosario had 22. It's Njai who hits here, and the lead is 13 now, 22-9. See, Robinson will try a rare 3. That off the mark.
That's why it's rare.
And Rosario looking to run back the other way. And he lost the handle, and here comes Dixon out in front of the crowd. And Jermaine Dixon will finish for the Panthers. Rutgers had gone 7:45 between field goals, but again, another empty trip and another turnover to lead up to 15 again.
Now Wanamaker matched up with Rosario. There's no help off Rosario, always in passing lanes.
Jackson, tough shot. McGee got a piece of that. Gibbs in transition, finds Dixon, kicks to the corner, 3 on the way from Wanamaker. No good, McGee follows. And Fred Hill wants a timeout as his team is now falling behind by 17 points, 26-9. Well, it's got to be an empty feeling for Fred Hill coming into this game and really trying to cap off what's been a good end of the season run, maybe a signature victory. Certainly you want to come in here and make a representative account of yourselves, and right now it just has not happened for them.
Well, the Pitt defense has just been smothering, and especially against Mike Rosario. There's the steal right there. Brad Wanamaker matched up with him that time. And this is what I like about Jermaine Dixon. He just attacks the basket and finishes the play. Here's the defense, and there's Dixon again coming into the lane, 2-foot jump stop. Remember Gilbert Brown?
Exactly what I was going to ask you about.
Jermaine Dixon making the senior-like play.
And Dixon has done a great job on the offensive end, and as you mentioned, on the defensive end, he is their perimeter shutdown guy. He's on Rosario. We've seen him all year long giving top Big East performers difficult times, and Rosario's got his work cut out for him against Dixon today.
There's Rosario and Dixon right there. Dixon gives him nothing. He called for the blocking foul.
And that will lead us to a timeout. The Pitt Panthers leading the Rutgers Scarlet Knights by a score of 26-9. The freshman Dante Taylor getting into the act. His big jam has helped the Panthers enjoy a big lead. Peterson Event Center, the 18th ranked Pitt Panthers leading Rutgers by a score of 26-9 with 7:30 remaining in the first half. All season long, champion apparel will be showcasing the tradition and history of the Big East Conference. Today, let's take a look at the Panthers' Big East tournament run during the last decade. And Coach, this has really been a great run.
Dominant run. Of course, Ben Hallen, what a job he did coming from Northern Arizona here to Pitt. And Jamie Dixon, his loyal assistant, took over and frankly has elevated the program. Mark Few of Gonzaga has the most head coaching wins in the first 7 seasons of his career at 188. Number 2 is Jamie Dixon at 186.
McGee with a block for the Panthers and doing that in the Big East Conference too. As Wanamaker goes the other end and he's fouled by Dane Miller, so he'll get a chance to shoot 2. Miller quickly over to help him up. Rob King along with Mark Adams here at the Peterson Event Center. And in this run that Jamie Dixon has put together, they have won 20 games overall and 10 games in the Big East Conference in each of the last 9 years. The only team in the conference to do that. A remarkable run of consistent excellence.
He's on track to be the winningest head coach in the history of college basketball in his first 7 seasons as a head coach. With 2 more wins, he ties that record. That's incredible.
That is incredible.
I mean, we're talking about legends here. We're talking about in this league alone. Jim Boeheim couldn't do that. Jim Calhoun couldn't do that. Mark Few did at Gonzaga, but in the Big East, to put those kinds of numbers up, that's legendary numbers. Those are Hall of Fame numbers.
And if anybody had any questions as Johnson finishes inside for Rutgers about his coaching ability, and you wouldn't know why they would, this year I think has put to bed any of that talk. And really, I never heard any of that talk anyway. But I mean, if you had any doubts, they've been laid to rest.
I saw them earlier in the year. I didn't think they'd go 500 in the Big East, but they've gotten better and better and better.
Again, with a win today, the Panthers, as Robinson locked inside, gets it back and finishes. With a win today, the Panthers the number 2 seed in the Big East tournament. So plenty at stake for the Panthers in this game.
And can continue their run to improve their seed in the NCAA tournament. Right now, probably a 3 seed. Moving up the ladder can be a 2 or even a 1.
And they're putting on a convincing display today. Another turnover. As 8 Panthers have scored, and Rutgers looking for anybody to score as they're down 19-30 to 11. Well, this has been systematic what they've done on both ends of the floor here to the Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
It's a great description. It's like a machine.
Wanamaker crossing over, left it for McGee. A little communication breakdown there. Njai checks back into the game along with Coburn. Johnson and Beatty take seats for the Scarlet Knights. How about Njai? A chance to break the shot block record at Rutgers held by the great Roy Hinson. Needed 4 blocks going into this game today.
He got 5 blocks against Seton Hall. That was mainly in the first half. Thought he might break it at home in the last outing in that heartbreaking loss to Seton Hall. Rutgers played very hard, and I think emotionally they're a little bit off-center coming into this game. I think they really wanted to win that last game at home for Njai.
Well, Njai, the guy that Coach Fred Hill has said, hey, he's changed the culture here. It's been him. He's the senior. He's the leader. They really feel like they're turning a corner this year, despite what you're seeing out here early on in this game. And Mitchell misses the 3, and Dixon gets the rebound, but he credits a lot of that to Njai. Dixon in transition, pulls up and hits the jump shot.
I love this game. He's just a tough kid. He gives you everything he can on the defensive end, now matched up with Rosario. And on offense, he's always attacking the basket and only takes good shots.
And throughout his 2-year career here for the Panthers, came in as a transfer, lob to Njai off the mark, rebound pulled down by Gilbert Brown. He has made so many big shots. Even you look at the field goal numbers, maybe not great percentage-wise, but boy, when they count, as you saw at the in that game in Providence, just kind of the ability to hit the big shots has been a hallmark of his career.
Last 6 minutes, got fouled on 3 straight shots. He made 1 free throw, but all those points mattered in that overtime victory.
Back the other way, Wanamaker misses. He and Rosario battling. Njai on the floor, and Rutgers comes up with it, and Dixon hobbling now for the Panthers.
Dixon looks like he turned over his ankle a little bit.
So on a gimpy foot trying to guard Rosario, but
he'll still guard though.
Yeah. Yep. Njai in, and he misses that, gets his own rebound and fouled. So Njai trying to show some activity on the offensive glass here for Rutgers as Taylor checks in, and Johnson back for Rutgers. Ashton Gibbs will also check in for the Panthers as Mitchell goes to the Rutgers bench for the Scarlet Knights.
Jermaine Dixon dinged that right ankle. And the trainer going to check him out.
He wants to be out there at all times, particularly on senior day.
He had no way of attention. He don't want to go to the end of the bench.
Coburn in traffic, and Trayvon Woodall, who does an excellent job of drawing fouls, draws another charge there, all going the Panthers' way early on here. Ranked Pitt Panthers trying to get the #2 seed in the Big East tournament. They can do that with a win over Rutgers. They lead 30-11 with 3:57 remaining in the first half. Hard to believe that the college lacrosse season has started. Don't miss the inaugural ESPNU Warrior Classic on Saturday, April 24th at Rentschler Field in East Hartford, Connecticut. Denver takes on Fairfield at 11 a.m. followed by UMass and Georgetown. Visit ESPNUWarriorsClassic.com for more details. Syracuse, Johns Hopkins have been 2 of the dominant programs in lacrosse history. Syracuse winning 11 titles all told. So lacrosse season underway. Terrific sport. If you haven't had a chance to see it in person, I encourage you to get out and watch some, or watch it on ESPNU. There's Trayvon Woodall and Mike Rosario, the 2 teammates in high school, going head-to-head. Wanamaker takes to the basket. He's fouled, and he'll have a chance to shoot too. So Rosario and Woodall, great friends, went to high school together, won a national championship under Coach Hurley. They've got a new documentary coming out about that program called The Street Stops Here, talking about how Coach Hurley makes a difference in so many young men's lives. And Rosario and Woodall find themselves from that background up here battling mano-a-mano here at the Peterson Event Center.
I saw both of them play in high school for Bob Hurley. And Bob Hurley demands, first of all, discipline. And second of all, he teaches the techniques of the game. He's such a great high school defensive technician. And he brings out the best in his players. And then off the court, serves as a great role model. There's a lot of kids that have benefited, not just from the basketball tutelage of Bob Hurley, but also the lessons, the life lessons at the high school level. He's really a tremendous person and basketball coach.
When you talk about providing opportunities, they have a website for the film, which they said in all his years of coaching, only 2 players that he's coached have not gone on to college. So all those young men getting an opportunity to go on and better themselves. And of course, the college experience is part of that off the hardwood as well. Really an amazing, amazing success story.
Bob Hurley has had some chances to move on to the collegiate level, but has denied them himself those chances in order to be a selfless member of that St. Anthony's team. He's never let his high school players down.
Gilbert Brown in the corner for 3, so Gilbert Brown feeling it early on for the Panthers.
Well, remember, he started off the game attacking the basket.
Right.
He makes shots early. He gets confidence, and he plays well.
You know, another thing, when a shooter gets to the free throw line early, gets a chance to maybe get into a groove, can that help him from the outside a little bit later on in the game as well?
If I'm coaching Gilbert Brown, I'm saying the first shot you're going to take is from the free throw line. You're going to draw contact somehow, some way, and go to the line.
Well, Rosario did that and got the roll, and so he'll have a chance to complete a 3-point play here for the Scarlet Knights.
Oh, Rutgers attacking the basket. Mike Rosario right there doing the smart thing, taking the ball right to the rack. Again, he's the scorer, so how do you do it? get to the free throw line.
Have a chance to complete the three-point play, and even there, scoring that, boy, you could see just from that replay how tough it is to go against this Panthers defense.
You know, Rob, I had some players like Mike Lazaro, like Gilbert Brown, and I would tell them, look, you're not shooting a jump shot until you take the ball to the basket. Once you get your rhythm going to the basket, then we'll talk about your next jump shot. Rutgers back in the 2-3 zone.
Fred Hill trying to do whatever he can to spark his team, matching defenses and mixing and matching. Wanamaker, boy, smart decisions. Didn't like where he got that pass. Was trying to set up for the three, so he doesn't take the shot. Now out of bounds. And they're going to say off Taylor. Said he hit it out of bounds first.
Let's take a look at the replay. Brad Wanamaker off to Dante Taylor. Well, that looks like that's off a red hand.
Yeah, I guess they said it hit out of bounds before he touched it, but
it's close.
Rutgers now has a 4-minute and 29-second scoring drop from the field. Well, they've had some long ones in this game. Just can't get things going here. Rosario well defended, kicks in the corner. Mitchell's three, no good. Woodall rebounds.
Well, Pitt has just dominated the glass as we expected.
Ashton Gibbs catching, shooting, and delivering, and I know you love the way he shoots.
It's so compact. He just catches, lets it fly. Got a chance to rebound for him before while he's shooting, and he just catches and releases so quickly.
And he's like a metronome, just boom, 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 just the same delivery all the time, and does that at the free throw line and does that from the field as well.
He takes the ball from the shooting pocket to his forehead faster than anybody in college basketball.
Tough driving basket there by Mike Coburn. Reunited on the collegiate level with his high school teammate, Jonathan Mitchell, who had gone down to Florida, won himself a national championship, wasn't getting a whole lot of playing time, so sat out last year and transferred to Rutgers, and now he and Coburn playing together for Coach Fred Hill.
Rutgers in that 2-3 zone, trying to take dribble penetration away. Ashton Gibbs, the zone buster.
Woodall being dogged. 10 now on the shot clock. Brad Wanamaker gets a layup as the shot clock was winding down. Boy, what great execution by the Panthers.
And Fred Hill went to the zone to take away dribble penetration, and Brad Wanamaker made him pay anyway.
The lead is 24. The Panthers putting on a clinic here in the first half as they're gunning for that #2 seed in the upcoming Big East tournament. Coburn delays, moves to his right. Shot clock going down, and another turnover. Coburn able to get it back as Taylor tried to roll it forward. Rosario now at the buzzer can't get the shot off. And so the Pitt Panthers leading by a score of 40-16. Coming up at halftime, we'll take a look back at the Syracuse-UConn 6 overtime game in our Big East Wire. Big East scores and standings, stats and highlights as Jermaine Dixon on senior day putting in a strong first half performance by the Panthers, who lead by 24 over the Rutgers Scarlet Knights here at the Peterson Event Center. Welcome back to the Peterson Event Center for the Big East Halftime Report. Halftime of the Panthers game against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. And with the Big East tournament right around the corner, we thought we'd relive one of the greatest games in Big East and maybe college basketball history. Last March during the Big East tournament at Madison Square Garden, UConn and Syracuse playing into the night, a record-setting 6 overtimes.
Snatches and lost it. Walker all alone to lay it in. 1.1 to go. Does it get any better?
Harris runs, lob to no one in particular.
Devendorf at the buzzer. Good! Good!
And Devendorf steps on the press table.
If it stands, it's another Syracuse buzzer beater. They're going to wave it off. They did.
You'll have to prepare yourself for overtime.
Takes the three, and he hits! 80-76 UConn.
Broughton's a tough three.
Hands it off Jackson, and a pile drive slam. 4.7 seconds left.
Walker contested, and will head for double overtime. Flynn to the bucket. He's fouled. Flynn from deep. No. 4 seconds to go. Ahead it goes to Walker for the win. Off the back rim. Unbelievable.
Free for Rouse. It's good. He ties it with 11:7 to go.
Price, a deep NBA three just short. Adrian at the buzzer. No. Overtime number 4. Oh, how good is this? Flip underneath. Harrison close. Missed again. Harris one more time. No.
This is insanity at the Garden.
We got a 5-bagger.
Price from very deep. Off the mark. In the corner. Adrian. No. Overtime number 6. Coming up from New York City. Harris missed another dunk. Harris fouled and it counts.
This was great.
And all it took was 6. The Horns outlast Connecticut. And if you don't get it the 3rd, 4th, or 5th time, try it again.
Syracuse winning 127-117. The game taking 3 hours and 46 minutes. Big East scores and updated standings when we return from the Peterson Event Center. Welcome back to the Big East halftime report here at the Peterson Event Center, where the Pitt Panthers all over the Rutgers Scarlet Knights by the score of 40-16. The Panthers fighting for the number 2 seed in the Big East tournament, which they'll get if they can hang on to this win throughout the second half. Earlier today in the Big East Conference, number 1 Louisville down to defeat, number 1 Syracuse down to defeat at the hands of Louisville. In overtime, West Virginia beats Villanova. Notre Dame topping Marquette, also in overtime. Georgetown pounding Cincinnati, and South Florida hanging around. They beat Connecticut 75-68. Your thoughts, Coach, on seeing some of these wins and what they do to the standings, and what do they do for NCAA tournament hopes?
Well, the positive stories for Louisville, clearly off the bubble now and in the NCAA tournament, as if there was any doubt before. Notre Dame making a strong late season charge. Bad news for Cincinnati, bad news for Connecticut, and so far good news for Pitt, as they can take over the number 2 seed going into the Big East Championship.
Yeah, you mentioned Notre Dame. Luke Herringody back in action today for the first time. So Notre Dame, a team on the ascension, and the Panthers feel the same way about themselves, fighting for that number 2 seed in the Big East Conference tournament. We'll be back with more of the Big East halftime report from the Peterson Event Center after this. The folks saying, hey, send us some dough. Pitt Panthers leading the Rutgers Scarlet Knights by a score of 40-16 here. The Big East halftime report alongside Mark Adams. I'm Rob King. And Coach, you look at that first half, and the Pitt Panthers fighting for that number 2 seed in the Big East tournament. Could not ask for a better half of basketball.
Well, it's senior day, and Jermaine Dixon has played so well. When you talk about Jamie Dixon's defense, it has simply been sterling, as it was a struggle to find offensive highlights for Rutgers this afternoon. Hamidi Njai down low. Austin Johnson also getting a look down low. And Mike Coburn off the dribble drive. But overall, the defense has been so stingy, led by Jermaine Dixon. He's also done it offensively here in the open court. 2-foot jump stop, feathery touch. We know his ability to take and make big shots here in the open court. Off the steal, Jermaine Dixon, and Dante Taylor with the flush inside. Unselfish basketball from Gilbert Brown. The rotation not quite good enough defensively, and Dante Taylor again with the flush.
And when you look at the statistics and you see Mike Rosario struggling, there's only been 6 field goals made by Rutgers, so not a lot going for them. Meanwhile, the Panthers getting their usual great balance. 10 points from Dixon and 7 from Wanamaker. With the Panthers leading 40-16 at the half. Back to second half action. We return after this. Peterson Event Center, the Pitt Panthers leading the Rutgers Scarlet Knights 40-16 as the Panthers battle for the number 2 seed in the Big East Conference, which they will get with a victory today. They can hang on to this lead, so the Panthers plenty to play for here today, Mark.
Well, on a national level right now, Pitt playing as good as anybody. Won 7 out of their last 8 ball games. You look at Syracuse losing today to Louisville. You look at Kansas State losing earlier in the week. When you look at Pitt's resume right now, 23-7, number 9 RPI, schedule strength number 11, their quality wins, 7-3 versus the top 50. The way things are going with the number 1 seeds that are projected losing every single week, if Pitt wins out and wins the Big East tournament, they could be a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament.
Another thing, too, as Wanamaker drills the 3-pointer from the top of the key, and the lead up now to 27 for the Panthers. That one bad loss that popped up there against Indiana. Jermaine Dixon's first game back, no Gilbert Brown. I mean, these are things that you would think they would take into account. The fact that the Panthers played a lot of their season without two of their huge players.
And when you get down to it, in the end, everyone will have at least one blemish.
Right, sure.
But you still take that one blemish to the prom last time I checked.
Rosario misses the three-pointer. Of course, we tell our wives we took the only unblemished women to the dance. Let's get that out there right away. And here's your recipe for NCAA tournament success.
I don't believe in expansion. I believe in expanding the at-large of 64 teams. You only take the automatic bids for the top 16 RPI-ranked conferences. That leaves you 48 at-large bids, and then you've got to be ranked in the top 64 of the RPI to be considered for those bids. But here's the caveat. I believe that non-Power 6 teams should have to go on the road 2 times a year at non-Power 6 sites to make the RPI more accurate as far as conference and their strength.
Gibbs fouled as he hits. Rosario had hit for Rutgers. So would that allow more of the mid-majors and smaller conference teams into the tournament or fewer?
It would allow the teams who are productive to go to the NCAA tournament. I don't know if it would be more or less, but I believe there's brand bias in the process now. And if you get more Power 6s playing non-Power 6s without playing 90% of your games at home, I think that makes the RPI a more valued evaluation tool.
And Woodall stripping his old high school buddy Rosario, who tries to come back the other way. Woodall hits, and Rosario with a foul, chance for a three-point play for Trayvon Woodall.
Trayvon Woodall has just consistently gotten better. This kid out of St. Anthony's was so well prepared to come into the program, but there's always growing pains. And he's gone through those, but he's no longer a freshman. He's playing like a sophomore now.
And Trayvon completes the three-point play. Rosario, a little grin in his face. The two very good friends we mentioned earlier playing at St. Anthony's for Coach Hurley. And now going at each other here. And the lead has grown to 28 points for the Panthers.
Now look over the bench. I see Brandon Knight sitting over there, one of the all-time great point guards in the history of the Big East. You got to think that Trayvon Woodall is gaining from his experience.
And Rosario goes to the basket and will now go to the free throw line as he is fouled.
I'm sure Fred Hill has challenged Mike Rosario to get a lot more aggressive off the dribble. That time takes Woodall right to the basket. When Jermaine Dixon is on him, much more difficult to get around, but they're picking on the freshman right now. I feel like they've got a little bit of a mismatch.
Rosario, a 72% free throw shooter, hits the first. By the way, we all wanted to pass along our condolences to the family of Paul Trgovac, our stats guy, one of the great stat guys in the business, passing away at 53. Scooter was a pleasure to work with, always extremely well prepared, and our condolences and our wishes go out to his wife, Joan, and the rest of his family.
Well, I ditto that. I'm going to miss him a lot. He's been a valued team member of our broadcast for many, many years, and as an analyst, he was simply the best from a graphics perspective, from a statistical perspective, but even more than that, a great person. I know he helped you out a few times as well when your car broke down.
Yeah, I needed a jump start down in West Virginia earlier this year, and Scooter was there for me. And so, again, everybody here, the entire crew, Joan, if you're watching, or anybody in the Trgovac family, he meant a lot to us. And again, our best wishes, our condolences to you and the family. And Paul Trgovac at age 53. Scooter, we're going to miss you. 46-20, the Panthers lead is at 26, 17.5 remaining here in the second half. And a charge as Rosario dug in there on Wanamaker, who caught him, I guess, with the off elbow.
It'll be interesting to see how Rutgers handles adversity on the road here. Remember, this is a team that opened the conference season 0-8. And then bounce back at 5-4. We're seeing a little bit of the microcosm of their opening Big East play here in the first half. Will they compete in the second half? I believe they will.
Rosario open three and gets it to go. So Mike Rosario may be feeling it here a little bit for Rutgers and cuts the lead down to 23. He has 12 points.
Here's the full court pressure from Rutgers.
They're going to get Beatty with a reach-in foul. You know, Fred Hill took over a Rutgers program that really has very little tradition to talk about. One of our colleagues, Bob Wenzel, the coach there, the last time they went to the tournament way back in 1991. They haven't been to the tournament since 1991. very little basketball tradition there, and he's a Jersey guy and loves it. This is his dream job, and he's been building a team that is, this year these are all his guys, and they're starting to win a little more than they have in the past, and this has got to be tough for him to swallow here, what's happening today.
Well, in 2007, Rutgers' RPI was 216. As of yesterday, they were 136. They've improved 80 spots in the RPI, and of course, they've gone from 0-8 to 5-4 over the last 9 games in the Big East.
Brad Wanamaker hitting along too, and it's the toughest conference in the country to move up on. And we've seen the Scarlet Knights. They've upgraded the football facilities, put $102 million into that. Greg Schiano's had great success there, and maybe the basketball area is going to be next there at the rack, something that could use to be updated. Battles, and Mitchell winds up off the scramble with a 2.
And when you look at the recruiting of Rutgers, Mike Rosario was an ESPNU.com top 100 player.
Foul away from the basket. 48-25. The Panthers leading by 23. Back at the Peterson Event Center, the number 18 ranked Pitt Panthers leading Rutgers 48-25 as they try to nail down a number 2 seed in the upcoming Big East tournament. Let's take a look at our Big East leaders, brought to you by PNC. Leading the way, Hamadi Njai. How about that? More than twice as many blocks as the second close competitor, number 3 in the NCAA in blocks, and closing in on the all-time shot blocking record at Rutgers.
You know what I like about Hamadi Njai as a shot blocker? I like his patience. He waits for the ball. A lot of guys try to go up and anticipate shots. Great shot blockers don't anticipate shots as much as they have patience, wait for the ball, and then go and react and get it.
We saw the Renato down at Mississippi State far and away the active leader, but Njai had some back issues and really didn't start playing basketball until he was 16 years old. So a guy right now being projected as a possible second-round choice in the NBA draft as Gary McGee finishes there. So he's come a long way in a short period of time.
Boy, McGee did exactly what you should do against a shot blocker. He just leaned right into the middle of the chest of Hamadi Njai and moved him underneath the basket. Perfectly done.
And the pass attempt inside to Njai was deflected out of bounds by Woodall. By the way, Jermaine Dixon has left the floor. Has a right leg injury, so don't know whether he'll be back in the game or not, but is not currently out on the Peterson Event Center floor, not playing and not over on the bench right now, so evidently getting looked at back in the Panthers locker room.
Remember, he sat last month, in fact, did not play against West Virginia, did not play against South Florida, and the result wasn't good for Pitt that time. Lost at South Florida, lost at West Virginia. Once he came back, this team became the team they are today.
You look at a guy like Jeremy Hizell. Dixon has to guard him, always drawing the toughest matchups, and held Hizell to 3 points. A guy averaging 23 points a game.
Well, Rosario starting to get going offensively in the second half. Gee, I wonder why. Because Jermaine Dixon's not out there.
Dixon 10 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, as well as a great defense. Ashton Gibbs answering on the other end for the Panthers with his own 3-pointer.
What a quick draw. Ashton Gibbs caught it, shooting pocket, forehead, wave goodbye.
Pass down to Mitchell. Left-handed hook, no good. Njai trying to keep it alive, does so, kicks out. Beatty back to the corner for Mitchell. Thought about the 3, fouled as he drove it to the basket. We talked about that quick release by Gibbs. How important is the pass? And to get it, does a point guard, do you need to study where to get the ball to guys so we can make that quick release?
You certainly want to get in the shooting pocket, but just watch Ashton Gibbs. Watch his hands in the shooting pocket. Boom. Gone right now before the defender could put a hand in his face, and he actually mishandled that pass a little bit. Still got in the shooting pocket and straight up into his shot.
Yeah, so much for my theory on the pass having to be in the right spot. I guess it goes over his head, bobbles a little, and still gets the 3 off.
You know, when I rebounded for him about a week ago, I threw him bad passes on purpose to see how he would get the ball back in the shooting pocket. Rob, it was like a machine. He'd catch it off to the right here, right to the shooting pocket, and let it go through his face. It's unbelievable how quickly he gets rid of the basketball.
I was just wondering if it wasn't your delivery was off.
Yeah,
you were looking for a little something there. But it is. That's an art, and it is amazing how a guy. And again, we saw him in the free throws when he before the Robert Morris game that you and I did. You know, when the Panthers were playing them, how it's the same routine every time, and he finds a way through that routine to help him out. He was talking about that routine with you.
He shoots at 150 shots in his pregame warm-up several hours before game time. He worked as a kid with his dad, and his dad was the one that convinced him to work on a quick release, much like a quarterback does in football. And Ashton Gibbs is a dangerous quick release man.
Patrick Jackson just picked up his third foul for Rutgers. Earlier we were talking about the NCAA tournament. Obviously it's getting to be that time of year as Rosario bats it out of bounds. You said brand bias. What do you mean by brand bias?
Well, I think in any situation, when you're buying a car, there's certain brands you like and certain brands that you discount. And I think the same way when you look at college basketball teams, I think we have brand bias in that process. And I believe the NCAA selection committee should go to codes for these teams, not put the university name on it.
Three-pointer by Gilbert Brown. So they would open up, look at the resume, not know what team it was, and say, are they worthy or not worthy?
It would be a numbered code or a code name, whatever. But that way it takes the brand bias out of the process, and all you do is objectively evaluate the numbers.
One of these blind taste tests is what we'd be looking at.
Like the blind resumes, what we do when we do a game together.
And Njai fouled, and he'll go to the free throw line. We may take a look at some of those resumes a little later on in the game here.
But when you take the brand name out of the process, it's like those taste tests. You know, bottom line is you don't look at the label to see what you really like. You just react to the product. And that's what I want to see more of in college basketball. I want to see the actual product more objectively evaluated rather than those subjective long-term brands that we've come to know for decades now.
And Gibbs got a big hand as he headed to the bench here for the Panthers. Ooh, big collision. Right in front of us, Brad Wanamaker and Jonathan Mitchell going down. And what does it say about Jonathan Mitchell? That hustle play there, not only down so much in this game, but as a transfer from Florida, sat out last year. Take a look at this here first, Coach.
Yeah, Rutgers going after the basketball. Brad Wanamaker, that shows his strength and athleticism right there. Watch the hit he takes.
He is sturdy. Came down on his feet, and he'll have a chance to go to the free throw line. But Mitchell was voted by his teammates as a co-captain last year while sitting out as a transfer.
You know, and that's the culture change we talked about with Rutgers.
Great commitment by Dante Taylor. But Mitchell's part of that culture change.
No question. Plays hard. In this situation, this team's down. He's still laying it on the line.
Lead is up to 30, 58-28. Panthers not just trying to get that number 2 seed, but looking to go in with some momentum down to Madison Square Garden. Rosario with a runner. Beautiful move in the lane for him. Now, the Panthers got a double bye last year and promptly lost in the first round of the tournament. And a lot of fans in Pittsburgh have said, boy, you know, do they burn themselves out for the NCAA tournament with these long runs in the Big East tournament? Last year, they get the double bye and promptly lose their first game.
Well, that shows the quality of the Big East Conference.
As a coach, would you rather have a long conference tournament run, or if you didn't need one, say, hey, I'm not too unhappy that we lost in the quarterfinals, the semifinals, didn't have to play that extra game or two?
Well, in coaching, I know how you get paid. Does that answer your question?
Yes. You want to win.
I'd rather have that long tournament run every year.
Taylor trying to follow his own, missed it. Now Gilbert Brown. Well, you talked about that athleticism, and there it was. Both guys, Taylor relentless, and Brown with a follow.
Boy, and second chance points have been very impressive this half.
That was a fourth chance point right there.
Fourth chance point.
Dante Taylor working hard, and Gilbert Brown with the finish. Njai short jump shot, no good. Taylor rebounds for Pitt. Couple of McDonald's High School All-Americans on the floor. Rosario, who we've talked about, and Dante Taylor for the Panthers, the freshman.
What else Pitt shows you? You don't have to be big to be a great rebounding team. They average 4.5 more rebounds per game than their opponents. There it is again.
Right on cue, Taylor with the foul. Drawn on Njai, and he'll shoot 2 free throws. Pitt Panthers leading 60-30.
1, 2, 3, 4 with the jam.
at the Peterson Event Center. The Pitt Panthers leading Rutgers by a score of 60-30. Today's Big East Coaches Spotlight is brought to you by Oppenheimer Funds. Let's take a closer look at Coach Jamie Dixon and his history of guiding his team into a strong position in the standings during his tenure. And we take a look now quickly at the Big East preseason poll. The Panthers picked to finish 9th in the conference. And then you take a look at where they actually are, a chance to finish 2nd with a victory today over Rutgers.
And this would have to be a historic comeback.
Yeah. And then some. As Dante Taylor misses the first. And here's, we take a look at the preseason standings. Now here's a look at where they are now. And how about that? Again, showing forth. They win today, though, and they're the 2 seed.
2 seed.
Dante Taylor hits the second of his 2 free throws. Rob King alongside Mark Adams as the Pitt Panthers trying to nail down that number 2 seed in the Big East tournament. Have already assured themselves of a bye through 2 rounds of Big East tournament play down in Madison Square Garden. Austin Johnson doing a nice job of shouldering his way in for 2. Young man that's had to play the 5, Gregory Echenike, their outstanding sophomore center, injuring his eye and out for the season, then decided that he wanted to transfer. And so Johnson, a normal 4, brought in to play the 4, has had to be pressed into duty to play the 5, but it's gotten him on the floor more than he might have been otherwise.
It's been a good thing for him. 11 minutes per game. He's been up in that over the last several basketball games. Another freshman that shows promise for Rutgers.
Chase Adams, another senior, long three-pointer off the mark. Taylor with a rebound and the jam.
That kid's getting better. When I saw him early in the season, he wasn't ready. He's getting ready.
Inside, nice move up and under for Johnson, drawing the foul on Dwight Miller, who's checked into the game.
Dante Taylor. A good athlete, good wingspan. Watch his ability to get back up in the air. Goes up and gets it. Pogo's right up off of 2 feet, man. That's athleticism and quickness that this program can use coming down the stretch. Live legs from Dante Taylor.
Up to Gilbert Brown, and we looked a little ahead with Rutgers, and obviously the Panthers, Rutgers looking ahead and trying to build a program, and the Panthers have this year to worry about as well. But Jermaine Dixon, the lone senior, and you have guys like Dante Taylor, J.J. Richardson, Dwight Miller is on the floor now, guys who can step into larger roles waiting in the wings for the Panthers.
That's been the secret to Jamie Dixon's success. Look at Taylor again.
Handed finish. Dante Taylor showing something today.
Well, that's Jonathan Mitchell on the backside who has position, but Taylor simply wants the ball more. Watch him work hard and work his hip in to get that position, then goes up strong. He pins the defensive rebounder underneath the rim.
Taylor has 11 points. Miller fighting for it out of bounds. Off Miller. 11 points, the 4th Panther in double figures. This is supposed to be senior day. Taylor said, I want to make it freshman day.
Well, this is huge for Dante Taylor to continue to gain confidence, get this type of game experience. He can be a difference maker for this team.
Rosario, long three-pointer, too strong. Miller with a rebound.
I evaluate coaches. Do players get better? Under Jamie Dixon, they seem to get a lot better throughout their careers.
Well, you look at guys, Sam Young. Great example of that. And a beautiful athletic finish by Dane Miller, who will have a chance to convert a three-point play. Aaron Gray, another guy.
Rutgers trying to make some things happen off the bounce.
Taylor gets a big hand with Woodall as Gibbs and J.J. Richardson check back in the game.
Dane Miller was really just another guy throughout a lot of the early season. Lance Stevenson was the guy at Cincinnati everybody talked about as the impact freshman. But Cincinnati starting to lose. Lance Stevenson's numbers started to dwindle. Dane Miller's continued to go up and up. And a month ago, I thought Lance Stevenson was the best freshman in the Big East. Not anymore.
Early in the year, people might have said Brandon Trish.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, is best friends with Dane Miller.
Alex Oriaki at UConn, another impact freshman.
Malik Waynes from Villanova. But Dane Miller, when you look at his numbers and just compare the numbers head to head, Miller's got a strong case for himself. That is just a wild shot.
Yeah, when we're talking about Daniel at that point, son, that wasn't quite on cue.
No.
He's got to work on that.
You hit that, and we talk about the range. As Ashton Gibbs, there's a guy who knows range with a three-pointer. And Miller, that's probably the next step in the maturation process from the better decisions, but also, improving the range and the jump shot a little bit as Coburn hits the two there. Gibbs, by the way, becomes the fifth Panther double figures as Brown adds two more. And a timeout called by Jamie Dixon. And we're going to take a break. The Panthers lead at 30 here at the Peterson Event Center. It's like just any other team huddle as you see Mike Coburn there in the foreground, but this is what happened just as we were going to break here, Coach. What do you think this was all about?
Well, Mike Coburn is a point guard, and he's in charge of the offense when they're out there on the floor, and Dane Miller took an ill-advised shot that Mike Coburn went to Dane Miller to explain. Now, here's Dane Miller right here, young man, probably not a very good shot, and Mike Coburn took exception to it. And oftentimes, the head coach, you give your point guard latitude to discuss things with your teammates in that situation. I'm not saying what was said and what was said back, but oftentimes I like a point guard who lets his teammates know what is acceptable, what isn't acceptable as a good shot or bad shot.
You talk about, again, changing the culture and maybe just a guy saying, hey, look, that's unacceptable. We're not going to do that no matter how far down we are. We're going to stay within the offense and try to execute and do what we do well the rest of the way here.
And Coburn just tried to set up Dane Miller, so there's no hard feelings there. I like the fiery Mike Coburn, the way he reacted to that situation. I got no problem with it as long as it was said in a constructive way.
Back to Coburn now with 5 on the shot clock, and Coburn's going to have to force something up. Draws contact instead from J.J. Richardson. And it'll be a fresh 35 here for the Scarlet Knights when we come back. The lead at 30. The Pitt Panthers over the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Number 18, Pitt leading Rutgers by a score of 70-40 at the Peterson Event Center. The Panthers trying to nail down a number 2 seed in the Big East tournament. And let's take a look at our Papa John's player of the game. And there he is, even though he's going to be sitting the rest of the afternoon.
Sipping on a cool cup of water right there, and he deserves it. Not because of his offense, where he was very effective in the first half with 10 points. There's that feathery left-handed touch actually to open up the game. His defense led to easy offense. What I really liked about him was defensively. Mike Rosario, the leading scorer for Rutgers, held to 5 points, hard-earned points in the first half. Since Dixon has left with the ankle injury, Rosario 9 points in the second half.
Well, he is a great defensive player. Coburn fouled just before the break, hits both free throws, lead at 28. Rutgers showing some pressure. Again, trying to fight to the end here and leave themselves with something good to think about before they head down to the Big East tournament. Of course, they're going to be playing in the first round. The Panthers are going to have 2 rounds off. The question is just what seed they're going to be, 2 or 4. And as you mentioned, it would take a monumental collapse for that not to be a number 2 seed with this huge lead here. Beautiful pass from Miller to Richardson. He threw the jam. Beatty the pull-up 3 in transition. Missed it. Johnson the rebound. Contact inside. Chase Adams, and the basket goes. Lead down to 26.
Austin Johnson, again, a freshman.
Kind of a crafty player, as Coach Fred Hill describes him. And Miller with a nice extra pass to Richardson, and that has been a hallmark of the Pitt Panthers team, the extra pass. Fred Hill again was talking about that with his team yesterday. Said they've been pretty good at it, the extra pass to get the good look. Pass up a good look, maybe to get a better look if you can.
And Gilbert Brown and Ashton Gibbs still in the game. I'm sure Jamie Dixon will be bringing those guys out pretty soon.
Gibbs there with the shot clock, and a block called on Mike Coburn with 1 on the shot clock. He played 34 seconds of tough defense, and that's the result, 20 feet away from the basket.
Mike Coburn's had a rough couple minutes.
Yeah. Yep. Exchange with a teammate. That foul call there. As Gibbs goes to the free throw line. Outstanding free throw shooter. One of the best in the nation. 89% from the strike.
Fred Hill just kind of chuckles, doesn't like the call right there.
Richardson and Miller go to the bench, and it's McGee and Robinson. So some more of the regulars checking back into the game. As Gibbs hits them both. Trouble for the Panthers. Or trouble for the Scarlet Knights. The Panthers showing a little pressure from Nasir Robinson off the inbounds, and the turnover was right back to Pitt basketball. Well, Fred Hill, this can't be the scenario he imagined coming into today's game.
Yeah, it's painful.
Inside to Gilbert Brown, and Brown has it kicked out of bounds.
And remember that Rutgers, one of the teams that has come in here and actually won over the last couple of years.
And Gilbert Brown hits the three. I heard a chant behind us, and the chant was, "We want Tim Fry," a walk-on who's a senior who was part of the group honored here on senior day as Beatty hits a three-pointer for Rutgers. I would suspect that now the Tim chant going. I would suspect the chance we'll see him here.
And coaches hear it, trust me.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. And usually I get that guy in sooner rather than later in this type of a game.
It's the Oakland Zoo. We want Tim Fry chant now.
I want Tim Fry.
Down in the blocks to McGee, trying to go to work on Njai. Njai got a piece and batted it to Coburn. So they credit him for a block as he tries to become the all-time shot block leader in Rutgers history. Beatty the miss and Gibbs the rebound for Pitt. But Gilbert Brown the three. No good. Robinson easy rebound. Back to Brown. And Brown trying to come in for the big jam, and Austin Johnson fouled him. Rutgers competing down to the last bitter seconds as we take a look at Tim Fry over at the Pitt bench. Pros and cons of bringing a player in at this point?
Only pros. Bring him in. Let him play.
Any thoughts about as Brown hits the first? Rutgers going to go deep into their bench to call in Brian Oakham, big 6'11" freshman from Nigeria. Any thoughts you'd be showing up your opponent at this stage of the game by bringing in a walk?
No, not at all. In fact, just the opposite.
And Brown hits the second.
You can always take him back out. With 5 minutes to go up 30, I like your chances.
And it's Trayvon Woodall who's going to check in, and that draws a little bit of a chorus of boos from the Oakland Zoo, and it draws a grin from Trayvon Woodall as well.
And the bench is just cracking up. I mean, they know exactly what's going on here.
Ashton Gibbs comes out.
Brad Wanamaker, Jermaine Dixon, they're laughing down there.
Here's the Zoo, the number 44, as you would suspect is the number for Tim Fry.
They want Tim Fry, and we're going to get him in. And we're going to score some baskets, too. We're going to get him the ball. He's going to score before it's all over. If I got to coach the end of the game, Rob, we're getting Tim Fry into the game.
Coburn hits the front end of a one-on-one, and there he is. Still hiding down at the end of the bench. Sometimes you see that shuffle where they make the guy move down closer to the coach, but he's down there deep, and I'm sure Jamie Dixon knows exactly where he's sitting as Coburn hits them both.
Well, this is a walk-on. He's paid the price every day. In fact, Jamie Dixon in practice yesterday this morning told me that the fact that he has 15 healthy players and how good his walk-ons are this year, and mentioned Tim Fry specifically. So now it's going to be Tim Fry's opportunity.
Definitely values those players. Brown faking the three. Going to come in, back to Chase Adams, another senior. His three is good, and he's got a chance for a 4-point play. Comes up holding the jersey.
Chase Adams, the senior, the diminutive point guard at 5'10", loads it up from downtown right in front of the Pitt bench, and here comes Tim Fry.
And Adams hits the free throw. Fry checks in for Gilbert Brown. And this might be the loudest we've heard the crowd all day.
Well, he deserves this. Good kid. He's played hard every day in practice. Now he gets to play the last game of his senior year right here against Rutgers. What a moment for Tim Fry.
Johnson trying to dump down. He's fouled, so he'll have a chance to shoot some free throws. 4:14 remaining.
Tim Fry has played in 4 games this year, a total of 4 minutes. He will double his playing time, more than double his playing time today.
And looking to add to the point total, which stands right now at what? 0.
He has not scored at all this season. This could be an historic moment at Pitt.
You can bet they'll try to work the ball to him. Rutgers in his zone, so that gives him an opportunity. Oh, they went right to him. But you know, Beatty's been around the block. He knew what was coming there too, so he was right out on Fry. Then they go to him again. They're trying. Adams back to Woodall. Trayvon will try the long 3. Winds up as a pass to McGee, and McGee lost the handle. Back the other way comes Coburn. Coburn, a beautiful finish on the challenge by Woodall, and Fred Hill wants a timeout as he's going to run some of his own seldom used players onto the court. Is this the right move here for Fred Hill? He wants to get some of his guys some playing time. At some point, I suppose you have to wave the white flag as well, don't you?
Well, in Big East tournament just around the corner, you don't want to get anybody injured at this point. So both teams will empty their bench. It'll give us time to talk about some of the great players in the Big East. Some of my picks maybe for some of the best big guys. Maybe the player of the year this year in the Big East.
But, you know, we're going to get to that. But is there a code of honor here among coaches when you start going to your bench and start bringing in guys? Or is there something? Is there a way you expect the other coach to react, or do you just coach your own team and that's it?
Among some. And then there are others, Rob. I won't get into names, but I'm telling you what, there are some who will bury you. I mean, absolutely bury you.
And you don't want your kids to go through that, so that you're less inclined to make a move you might want to make yourself.
Been there, done that on both sides of the equation, and I always tried to call off the dogs.
And Mike Kuhn is checked in. Tomas Kokosinski as well for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Ryan Oaten, which we mentioned, is already in the game. And here's Fry, open three-pointer off the mark. First of what we figure will be several shots for him down the stretch. And he's guarding Kuhn, and we'll see if Rutgers makes an effort to get their walk-ons involved as well. Jackson throwing an elbow there. Chase Adams didn't hit. Johnson trying to go to work. Kicks out to Kuhn, tries to get in the lane. And Adams on the floor, 1 on the shot clock, and it's going to be a hell ball. Possession arrow will be Rutgers when we return. Which of the walk-ons will score first? We'll find out after this. Pittsburgh, and the Panthers leading by 30 points, 81-51. And we're going to take a look at some of the better players in the Big East Conference, according to Coach Mark Adams. And let's start with the some of your best here of the big guy. Or this is overall player here. I beg your pardon.
So overall best player, Wes Johnson, is my player of the year. Deshaun Butler, of course, big win for West Virginia today over Villanova and Scotty Reynolds. Dominique Jones, I think one of the great offensive machines in college basketball. Lazar Hayward, a guy that's undersized, but yet that Marquette team continues to win close games. Congratulations to Buzz Williams and the guys, and Luke Herringode, who's back in uniform. It's good to have him back healthy and ready to go again.
Our Notre Dame team that is heading in the right direction, winning games without him, and then winning today when he rejoined the lineup.
Knocked off Marquette. That's a great win for Notre Dame today. Notre Dame, in my view, today is in the NCAA tournament. That's subject to change in 24 hours, however. Right now, it seems like, you know, they've made a great case coming down the stretch. They're so much improved defensively.
Kokosinski misses them both, and Tim Fry into the books of the rebound. And the crowd on pins and needles, literally waiting. 44 signs all over the place, waiting to see if he can score.
That's his first rebound of the season, Tim Fry. They're running multiple screens for him to get him open.
Some help side defense denying him a look there. White Miller taking it to the basket. Good move for the redshirt freshman from Jamaica.
I also know that Louisville can breathe easy now with the victory over Syracuse, closing down Freedom Hall, that historic big old barn down there in Louisville, Kentucky.
So many teams in battles at Marquette, Seton Hall, Cincinnati has been slumping after some impressive early season wins.
Yeah, I don't like Cincinnati's chances at all right now.
Again, perhaps subject to change if they made a big run into the tournament, even though they're not playing well right now. If that somehow were to happen. How about your coaches of the year?
I think that's co-coaches of the year this year, Jim Boeheim. Now think about Syracuse. They lost their season opener in the exhibition season to Lemoyne, a Division II program, and now 28-3, ranked #1 in the country until losing today. And what a job. We've talked about it all afternoon long. The job that Jamie Dixon has done at Pitt this year. When you lose 45 points, DeJuan Blair, Sam Young, and Lance Fields, 21 rebounds and nearly 10 assists, and replace them with a cast of characters who, frankly, were backups a year ago, and put together the type of season that Pitt has, the #2 seed in the Big East. Jim Boeheim, Jamie Dixon are my co-head coaches of the year in the Big East.
And maybe national coaches of the year. Nick Rivers, another walk-on, has checked in for the Panthers. And White Miller wants to take another look. Shot off the mark. J.J. Richardson soaring high for the rebound. Adams faked the three. Now to Fry again, and the crowd hollering for him to shoot. The crowd all over him saying to shoot the ball. Rivers will take a shot at it. Too strong. Adams and Miller battling for the rebound out of bounds. So the crowd desperately waiting as we take a look at the Big East standings now through today. Tell me, obviously the 5 ranked teams I think everybody considers locks. You think Louisville's in? How about Marquette? Notre Dame?
Marquette's definitely in. Okay, Notre Dame, I think today is in. That's subject to change. And I think South Florida is another team that has a legitimate shot to get into the NCAA tournament. Below South Florida, I don't like any of those teams' chances right now. Seton Hall, Bobby Gonzalez done a good job with that ball club. Cincinnati's slumping. Connecticut's slumping.
So the question is whether they get an 8 or 9 in the Big East tournament. This move by Austin Johnson, and he'll go to the free throw line.
Well, South Florida has a lot of work to do, but the win over UConn today, and then if they can parlay that into a run in the Big East tournament, you've got to think that South Florida, with what Stan Heath has done with Dominique Jones, and remember, Augustus Gilchrist was hurt throughout a lot of the season. Now you add a 6'9" rangy guy that was averaging a double-double before he was hurt and is now healthy. South Florida would be a dangerous team with Augustus Gilchrist completely healthy, along with Dominique Jones.
Yeah, that's one of those things that you wonder if is taken into consideration. Okay, you lost at South Carolina, Central Michigan early, but you're a much better team now. Gus Gilchrist, as you mentioned, missed a lot of that time as a real star player for them. Maybe they're one of the best 64 teams now, even if they haven't been all season long because of injuries.
I've sat in the mock selection process, and you do discuss those types of things. Now, you can't necessarily take a team out because of that, but it is one of the criteria when you talk about seeding, etc. In South Florida. That will be discussed, how they lost that kid for a majority of the season.
So now 23.3 seconds left, and the crowd here at the Peterson Event Center wants to see Tim Fry with one shot, but I think Jamie Dixon is just going to say, run out the clock. So the crowd, they wanted Tim Fry to score some points. Did come up with a rebound here, and the Panthers come up with the #2 seed in the Big East tournament with a big, convincing home win over Rutgers today.
Well, credit Tim Fry for not forcing it also. He is a true valued team member.
So the Pitt Panthers winning by the final score of 83-54. They will be the #2 seed in the Big East tournament, and a tremendous victory, tremendous coaching job by head coach Jamie Dixon. Our final score, once again, Pitt 83, Rutgers 54. For Mark Adams and our entire crew, I'm Rob King saying goodbye from Pittsburgh. For more information on the Big East, log on to ESPNplus.com. The proceeding has been an exclusive presentation of ESPN Regional Television, the worldwide leader in collegiate sports.